Hello, this is Renee, and I'm excited to be doing this little study again. Just a couple things before we get started. First, this is more of a study or a little practice that I kind of want to do each month, and I'm just recording and sharing it. It's not something where, I've put a lot of research into it and I have a lot of knowledge about all of these things, and I want to share that with everyone. This isn't like a scripted video where I've planned out what I'm going to say about each card. I literally I'm probably going to have it in a small thing so that everyone can see the suffering I went through. But I've literally just gone through all of my decks and pulled the Page of Pentacles out from each. So I don't have like scripted points to make or anything like that. So again, I'm not really trying to teach anyone anything. I do seem to, acquire decks. I've got about 37 now, I think it is. And I thought this would be a really fun exercise to do. And if, maybe you just have one deck or don't have a bunch, or maybe you do have more and don't want to get all of the Page of Pentacles out, this could just be a handy resource for you. Feel free to mute me to speed up the pace of the video, or whatever. If you just want to see the cards and come to your own conclusions and compare how they look, I would totally understand that. The pace of my videos tend to be like slower and more contemplative because, again, I haven't scripted or planned it ahead of time. So yeah, I would fully understand that. And I'm also going to include probably like a freeze frame of the cover of this, like the thumbnail of this video, and I'll put it, near the end. So if you want to pause and just look at that and just kind of get an overview of them for yourself, hey, feel free, more power to you. So that doesn't hurt my feelings. So let's see, we've got the cards here that I'll go through. And again, I get 0.4 or 3 or whatever point number I'm on. I haven't gone through and selected the best or my favorites. I just pulled all of them, and I'm gonna look at all of them. That's it. There's no curation that has happened here. But the first thing that I think I'm going to pull up is this book that I use pretty frequently. I like it as just kind of a basic reference book for the card meanings. I got it for $5 at Five and Below, but you can also get it at regular price, which is probably $20 or $25. I think there's even like a hardback version. It's by Tina Gong. Okay. Well, it's a good thing I was going to refer to this because I would not have found those. Why was this in here? I just know I'm going to lose a card doing this process at some point if I don't do it more nicely. Also, I've decided that I do love myself, and when I put these back, I'm going to do maybe like 10 a day, and I'm going to order each deck as I go. Some I'm going to use in between this, in between each month when I do this, but not all of them. So it would still be easier to find the card I want in mostly ordered decks rather than when none are in order. So that's my self-care project for this month, I guess. All right, so the Page of Pentacles, they're even giving you kind of a standard imagery here. Usually, and just kind of an overview, Page of Pentacles, I'm not great at the court cards, so I'm actually looking forward to this. Maybe it'll be one that after this I kind of have a good handle on and I'm more likely to remember. But it looks like this for the upright. The meaning is academic, practical, studious, disciplined, loyal, and dependable. And if it's reversed, the opposite meaning would be, lacking commitment, not looking into things, lazy, no ambition, just kind of laying around. So we've got, I like this book because it's, it gives you an interpretation. something to think about, which is really good for journal prompts, and also actionable things. That's what I like. I got into tarot so that I could work on taking steps to change my behavior, to change my habits, to change the way that I live my life, change my lifestyle. And so that's why I'm really attached to books that have actionable things. So, uh, if you're thinking about the Page of Pentacles as a person, it's an ambitious but practical person with long-term goals that do require a lot of work. Dedication gets her through challenges that others may find tedious or impossible. I find that interesting. I'm getting to learn that as we go. People who associate with the Pentacles are willing to do the day-to-day things, the routines, the repetitive things that will get them long-term results, whereas I don't always think of that dedication when I think of the other suits. So I'll really be keeping that in mind. So something that asks you to reflect on is, what are you dedicated to? What drives you? Is there something that guides you through life? Knowing your guiding star, really. And then when reversed, the page can be lazy and materialistic, setting those same high goals, but not putting effort into attaining them. Focused on the outcomes, she's easily swayed by schemes or shortcuts, trying to cut corners, and is often too restless and hasty to look carefully through details. So, and maybe lost in daydreaming. So that's something that definitely applies to me. I find myself doing that all of the time. Very, it's good to have imagination, but when you spend your days, kind of imagining yourself getting things done instead of getting things done, the years pass. Yes, they do. As I age, I am learning that more and more, and they're not always kind. So I'm just going to take a sip of tea here. And then they've got the actionable things down here. Looking for your goal, your guiding star, setting high standards, making commitments. And then, if you find yourself on the reverse end of it, the actions suggested are more like reconnecting with your passion, finding inspiration, and learning to focus. So, these are the Page of Pentacles really is right up my alley when we're talking about what drew me to tarot, or what concepts I'm interested in exploring. So I was happy when I saw this in my year ahead spread. Okay, so let's go through these more standard imageries first. So this is admittedly what I think of first when I think of the Page of Pentacles. Is the standard illustration. This is the Tarot 1909 that's rounded. And so they've added some of or they've extended some of the backgrounds on here, but I really like it. It just adds a little bit more space and openness. So here you've got a young person, and usually the page does represent youthful energy, or like, childlike energy sometimes as well. And they're holding a pentacle here, and you've got a grassy scene, a couple red flowers. There is a plowed field back here as well, and you have some like mountain and plain areas as back here as well. Okay, this is the tarot vintage, so very, very similar imagery, basically exact, just a different colorscape. This is the Everyday Tarot Mini, and this one is just a simplified version, but you have a lot of the same symbols here. You've got a person looking towards the right holding the pentacle, and you still have trees, mountains, and fields with flowers here as well. And then these are two more modern clones, but I do think that they have very similar imagery. So we've got the Modern Witch Tarot, and this is Page of Pentacles from that. And we have a young person with a backpack and the Converse shoes, still looking to the right, holding the pentacle. And we still have, you know, she's in a clearing, but there's trees in the background. And this time we have a city instead. So, you know, I think that is still still similar symbology, because whereas you've got, you know, a mountain to climb, and maybe there are more challenges that you will face in the city, but maybe you've taken some time to come out here to a park or to a clearing and really to study and consider something that you want to learn and are interested in. And I like that she has glasses on too. I don't think, you know, they might also just be sunglasses because it's a sunny day out. But, you know, that's often a symbol associated with being studious or contemplative. And then the dress of this woman is actually kind of the opposite, where we've got very casual style here. In this one we have more of a pinup style. So this is from the pulp tarot. And the whole concept of that deck is like retro pinup type iconography. So, you know, it makes sense that she would be in this clothing. She's got, you know, long black gloves, a pearl necklace, a pencil skirt, and a black jacket on, even though she's out in the fields, and she's got an umbrella, even though it's very, very sunny out. So the setting is interestingly the same, though. You still have those plowed fields in the background. The barn, she's still on a dirt pathway, and she is holding the pentacle here. Although I would say that the attitude is a bit different here. So where this person looks contemplative or thoughtful, this person is gleeful, and you know, I would almost read it as like, look at this money I have. Whereas this person is more like, I'm more likely to interpret this as studying. Whereas this one I might be more inclined to interpret it as interested in studying business, perhaps, for particular purposes, is how I would kind of read that a little bit more. If I'm feeling particularly cynical, I would almost read this as the banker showing up to repossess the farm, quite frankly. Okay, so here we'll call the second batch of cards, and they're still very similar to that basic Rider-Waite-Smith style. So this is from the Aquarian Tarot. This type of card is why I have trouble with court cards. Like it's just a dude with a fancy feather in his cap. It's basically, when the cards look like this, it's down to pure memorization. I love this deck because it's beautiful. This is actually the small deck that I carry around with me. But court cards, man, they're really not my thing. So as usual, a young person, although, I mean, does this say young person to you? It doesn't to me. I think it's like when you look at pictures of your parents. When if they were young in like the 60s or 70s or 80s, they still look old, I'm sorry. They really do. Let's see, so I'll move this one out of the way here. And this is from the Darkwood Tarot by Sasha Graham, one of my favorites. I love that this is a cross-sectioned apple. So you've got the seeds, which can be poisonous if you have too much of them, which might say something about, you know, what if you value pentacles or money too much. But this is probably some sort of forest spirit. Very connected to the earth element, so I think that's fairly clear. And her gaze is contemplative, looking at the apple here. And honestly, this pose in general for this card does make me kind of think about Hamlet, where he's holding the skull and doing his little monologue. I'd have to think more about that, or actually look up the text to that to see if it's some sort of reference, because that could be an easy way to remember the court card, because you know, they're usually holding the pentacle and contemplating it. So what was his phrase? You know what, I don't even remember it. That's high school was a long time ago. But let me glance at the guidebook for this one as well, because I feel like she often has good insights. A very well-worn book here. Pentacles. Yep, the student. The bark of the trees, growth and manifestation in the material world. Yep. Decorates. Okay. You have what you need at your fingertips. It's time to use it. So, I think that's it. Like I said, I like actionable things. And I like that this is saying, you don't need to wait for more books. You don't need to wait for a tutor. You don't need to necessarily have a better school. You don't need better equipment. You have what you need to start learning now. And more is on the way. So you can start with what you have now, and wait for better things in the future. Oh, put that one to the side. This one is from the Pastoral Tarot, which I just recently picked up. So it looks like we've got apple trees in the background here. Again, we've got a young girl who does actually look youthful in this one, holding a pentacle, maybe made out of sticks, something like that. And she's in a flower field, trees in the background, specifically an orchard. Does specifically look like a farm once again, just doesn't have the plowed fields. And then I think this is a sparrow. And I believe and we've got, what's this, a little butterfly there? And I believe all of the animals in this deck do mean something. So let me grab the guidebook and we'll see if it says anything specific about the meaning for this one. So here we have the Page of Pentacles. She concentrates on the abundance of earthly possibilities, yet her feet are planted firmly on the ground. And that kind of reiterates what we were reading in the main reference book I pulled over earlier about having goals, but they're realistic in the Page of Pentacles. Okay, so yep, a card of dreams and inspirations, but relates to the practical approaches required to make opportunities come to fruition. Yep, goals are an excellent starting point, but mere dreaming will not put you on the path. You'll need to channel all the creativity and energy from within to achieve the material rewards that you aspire to. And okay, yeah. And I like this too because it ties into the youthful energy of the pages. So let your sense of wonder and spirit of adventure take you to the next level where you will meet with success. Love that. Oh, and you know what? I don't think it mentioned the swallow. Okay, so I'm going to refer to this Dream Animals book. Okay, so the swallow has usually considered a sign of spring. I think this is generally a positive and forward-looking card, so I think it is probably using it as a symbol of courage and initiative. And a swallow, because it's got that curved tail, so I think it is a swallow. So, courage and initiative to start taking the steps to move towards what you want, I would say would probably be, and if it's a sign of spring, taking steps to move towards what you want is also kind of a new beginning. This is the Page of Pentacles from the Prisma Visions Tarot. And I would also say, with everyone looking to the left, all of the original Rider-Waite's that I had up before, and then this grouping as well, they all tend to, they've all been looking to the left so far, which, I think sometimes people interpret that as looking forward, looking towards the future, which I think is very fitting for this card, which is looking at taking steps, or working with what you have, or taking action now, basically, or learning now. This is from the Prisma Visions Tarot. Okay, so this one is kind of almost talking about it in a sense of it almost sounds like the Ace of Pentacles, the way that they're talking about it. Which kind of makes sense, because if you think about the Ace of Pentacles being a pentacle held out on a hand as if it's a gift, this, the Page of Pentacles is often a person now holding it, like someone who's accepted that gift and is now going to start working with it, or looking into it, appreciating it and putting it to use. So that kind of does make sense to really see it as, maybe even a direct descendant of the Ace of Pentacles card. And I do love these huge strawberries and huge flowers. It almost makes me think of this as like maybe a little fairy person. Very beautiful. Okay. This is the Mystic Dreamer Tarot, which is more of like a collage deck. So we've got we've got a tree in the background, mountains, while she's standing in a field of flowers. And then she's got her pentacle here with the red rose on there, as well as probably a butterfly. Also, sorry, I'm just looking at the cape. I would actually like a cape. When I find one thrifting, I'm going to pick it up. That's my goal. I'm saying it now to hold myself accountable. Next winter is going to be a winter I wander about in a cape when I find a furry cape. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much very, very similar energy. And here we've got a bit of a darker version. This is from the Murder of Crows Tarot. So I'm going to grab the guidebook to that to see if we've got anything different. On this one, instead of being out in nature, you've got more of an industrial feel here, and more of a skeletal and deadly feel as well. You've got the maybe a monstrous person with the crow mask here, holding maybe a skull of some sort in this hand, but still contemplating that pentacle there. Marking that top was a good idea, because I found it in the pile very easily. Okay, so a dedicated worker, meticulousness, attention to detail, separating the useful from the garbage. So I do kind of like that. That's interesting. So, maybe this is defunct machinery or something like that, and they've pulled out a piece that they can continue using on something else. That's a really interesting approach. Usually, for the previous ones we've seen, they're always standing in a field, and there's not really much to distinguish like what made them grab the pentacle in the first place, whereas this has almost a bit more proactiveness in it. And I do think that's been addressed in a lot of the definitions, is talking about like proactiveness and putting in the work, essentially. So that's really interesting. I will definitely think about that in the future as an aspect of this card when I pull it. Okay, so this will be our next group. Now, very similar imagery again, like recognizable imagery. This time they're all kind of facing the left. So, if sometimes people think about that as, maybe facing more of the past. I wonder if you could also think about it as, maybe the pentacle, maybe what you're studying, maybe the tool that you've picked up, maybe it's been around for a while and you're just now getting to it. That would be an interesting interpretation to have. So this is from the Witch's Garden Tarot. And we've got a little fairy of some sort who's actually sleeping, which has been an interesting difference. And we have a bee here who actually does seem to be working. Um, so that's interesting. They still have a symbol of hard work, even though she's asleep here. But maybe she's taking a rest from studying, is the implication. So this is more of a fall themed deck. So you've got the pumpkin here, and pumpkins. I think pumpkins also represent like manifestation and fulfillment, I believe. Okay. Oh, and I think the sleeping also does kind of represent the way that the pentacles are, their seasonal correspondence is winter. So, okay, so pentacle close to the heart chakra instead of holding it out, representing a connection and love of knowledge. That's a really interesting twist on there. I like that. I very much like this one. This is the Fifth Spirit Tarot. And for this one, we did the Ace of Pentacles card in my last card comparison video, and this was in the Ace of Pentacles as well, this root bulb. So, you know, it's almost like it's been passed from the Ace to the person who's now taking hold of it and going to make something of it. So we've got presumably dirt to plant this in on a bright sunny day. So I think that's a very beautiful representation of the ideas in Page of Pentacles. So we're going to take what they have and help it take root. Oh, I guess I should have put this in the animal section, but oh well. So here we have the Tarot of Curious Creatures. Yes, we've got a person dressed up looking at the pentacle. Fairly standard imagery. They've just added a lemur, I suppose. Let's pull out the guidebook for this one. Right to it. Let's see. Oh, it's a tarsier, not a lemur. Never too late to get into a Page of Pentacles energy and build something new. No rush to learn everything at once. Enduring commitment to observation, presence, and growth. Solid little guidebook. Okay. And now we have the Page of Pentacles from the Druidcraft Tarot, and in that one they call them the pages princesses. But this one is fairly standard imagery, similar to the Rider, standard Rider-Waite. We've got a young person contemplating the pentacle in their arms, and also barefoot, so they're very connected with the earthy element of the pentacles. Okay, so let's look at these ones next. Still very reminiscent of the usual imagery. In each one, we've got a person holding up the pentacle. There's just some additional background details now. And again, we've got two that are looking to the left and one that's looking, well, she's glancing left, but kind of facing forward, facing the reader. Let's see. This is from the Gilded Tarot Royale, which I always love the colors in this one. It's just fun, really vibrant. So we've got a person who is very dressed up, young looking again, fancy, not really salt to the earth, that I kind of associate with pentacles, but then again, the original Rider-Waite is also, I mean, the original has some fancy red feathers, so it's not exactly far off. We do have a peacock here. Let me pull up my little animal dictionary here. Okay, peacock. Personal satisfaction. You've achieved something worthwhile, and this has bolstered your pride and esteem. Well, that's what I would assume. He's fancy. He's fancy with his peacock. And this one here is the Mother Peace Tarot. And so we've got standing in a ring with a pot. No clue. Gonna have to look this one up. Oh, it took me 6 years to find it. So we've got the Line Strider Tarot. It's the Page of Pentacles. We have, is this a monkey maybe? With a little hat? And I do like sexy leggings and one sleeve for when you're mostly comfortable, but you're a little chill. So you gotta cover up that one arm. I got some large leaves here. They look like argonium leaves. They're very large though. I'm holding, what is that, a lemon maybe? Let me get the guidebook for this one. One was easily found, like sticking. Okay. New beginnings. It's interesting that quite a few of them have said new beginnings, kind of like what I would think of for the Ace of Pentacles. But yeah, study, investment, beginning stage of long-term success. Interesting. Yeah, this is really what I would expect to see for Ace of Pentacles. But again, it's urging you to bring your dreams into the material world with focus and care. You soon receive a message about financial matters, and you should be sure to open the envelope, even if it's a bill you would rather throw away. I don't know, I think that's really important to deal with unpleasant messages when you get them instead of letting them linger on in your mind. I personally ran into huge problems with that with student loans. I did a lot of schooling, didn't go as well as I had hoped. I was great at school, but not necessarily at setting up a job afterwards. And so I ignored those letters and got myself into a really deep hole that had I just opened them and saw their messages that were actually phrased pretty friendly when I looked at them like years later. Had I opened them and just did what they had said about letting them know about my employment situation, I would have been in a much better place now. I mean, they're fine. They are what they are now, but it's better to face things. They won't know if you open a letter. You're just giving yourself more information. And sometimes the problems aren't as big as you think. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, this has a lot of unique things that I haven't seen in the other guidebooks. So I really think this is a good deck and a good guidebook that has some interesting. And I like that. I've seen this in other pages for this guidebook as well, the Line Strider one, where it tells you pairings, like how the card interacts with others. So, if you're doing like a love reading, here's what the Page of Pentacles would be there. If it comes up with the Wheel of Fortune or the Chariot, I really like that quite a bit. It's a really good guidebook. Okay. So now we've got the Page of Coins, and this is from the Tarot of the Divine, where each of the cards is a reference to a folk tale or a myth of some sort, and I'm not actually sure what this one is. Maybe let me grab the guidebook for it. And here we have the Page of Coins. Okay, yep, and it's Sweden. And oh, a Sami. Okay. I believe that's an indigenous group in Sweden. Fresh start, the end of darkness. Vaiviniera, no clue how to say that, represents hope, setting up solid foundations and mental wellness. She is grounded and anticipates the bright future. setting goals, loyalty, positivity, opportunities, and manifestation. So I'll look up the Bienvenida. Let's see what the little tale is. Maybe I can find a little synopsis to include here. I'm not sure if you get the full-size guidebook. Like I just have the small one. There's one you can buy separately, but I'm not sure if maybe that includes um, like longer explanations of the story. Looks like it is a sun goddess connected to springtime and fertility. Related to, like, I believe white animals were sacrificed to her, and there were sacrificial rituals that welcomed the returning of the sun. The ability to bring light and ease the mental health of those who got depressed during the dark winter. Interesting. I'm just reading this from the first Google result. Okay, there's not really a story. At least not what I'm seeing at first glance. That's kind of cool. I've not heard of that one before. Here. Okay. All right. So this is from the Midnight Magic Tarot, where every card has a mushroom representing it. And this one's very cute. It's called a hedgehog mushroom, and it's also got ladybugs and a droplet of water, which is cool. I do not know enough about mushrooms to read this in any helpful way. What's this little plant in the corner here? I'm unsure what this plant is here. Maybe it'll say in the guidebook. Okay. It's a little chunky little guidebook. Knight of Pentacles. No, wait. Oh, interesting. Okay. So the relation of this to the Pentacles is that this is a good beginner for novice foragers, for people just starting out on a new hobby. Okay. Tap into childhood lessons to smartly maneuver through the initial tangles of a developing plant. Interesting. Let me look up ladybugs. Oh, I do want to. Sorry, I just ran into this. And what's this? Is that a double spiral? This doesn't really have a connector in between the two. But maybe, I mean, it is a double spiral, right? So double spiral. Oh, so some places in Ireland like two eyes, triad, death and rebirth. I mean, if you're dealing with Ireland, and that's where Druidic stuff is, right? So maybe it's called double spiral. There we go. Success, I suppose. Oh, here's the book I was referring to. I just picked up a couple on symbols at my local shop. I should have probably waited until I saw, one that includes everything, but what can you do? All right, are there ladybugs in here? I'm afraid to show this on screen because I guess people dream about everything, but man, they got some weird stuff in there that I'm not. Oh, ladybug 120. Let's hope there's nothing weird on page 120. All right, we can do this. We can do this. Where is it at? Ladybugs. Oh, okay. All right, and it's all normal stuff. Oh, ladybug. Where? It's at the very bottom. Okay. Symbol of good fortune, renewal, regeneration. You're being graced with good luck. And yeah, it's a dream one. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so a good luck. Love that. Or droplet of water has anything. Let's do this one. I love this deck. This is the cutest, brightest, happiest little deck, but I really think it's very good. It really follows the Rider-Waite-Smith stuff. So this is the Kawaii Tarot, and there's There's two with that name. There's two with that name. So the other one's like, I don't know, it's a pip deck that I don't like. This one is by Lulu Mayo. And that's the, so this one we have a squirrel. The pentacle is a nut. I think the squirrel has a little hat, adorable. We've got the sun in the background. It's a bright, happy day. We've got some busy bees. I always think of them as symbols of hard working. And squirrels, I think of them as industrious as well. Let's see, what else do we got? We've got the Page of Pentacles from the Crow Tarot. And it's actually very similar to the Ace of Pentacles from this deck. It's just the crow sitting on the pentacle, and now it's just kind of up contemplating it in the air here. We do have these red, what are they, poppies or tulips or something. We've got a mountain in the background and a tree, and you've got like the flowery plain. So really it's following the imagery fairly closely, just using a crow instead to go along with the theme of the deck. Okay, this is from The Wild Unknown by Kim Krans. This time we have a deer. I think since it has spots, it's a baby deer, so it is relating to that youth, that youthful nature. And we've got the pentacle and a little rainbow up there as well. And they're using the phrasing daughter of pentacles. Let me pull up what she says. Love her guidebooks. Oh, it's right, it's literally right there. Okay. Let's see. Double. Five of Pentacles, Daughter of Pentacles, responsible, kind, supportive. Someone shy, hardworking, and responsible. Let's see, Page of Pentacles. This is from the Landscape Tarot Landscapes. I'll pull up the guidebook in a second, but we've got a turtle here who looks like he's now made of the same material as the rocks, maybe some ground covering or moss has covered the tortoise probably, since he looks really large. And he's looking off into the distance on the right. So it looks like the sun's coming from this direction. So must be staring right into the sun. Let's see. Yeah, it's Tarot Landscapes is the deck. Oh, all right, on it. Yep, patient. So the only thing is I do associate tortoises with older energy, not really like youthful. Yeah, so this one they're kind of referring more to as an ageless creature. Okay, so yeah, this is really kind of turning it on its head. This one is coming at things with a lot of wisdom, not rushing, but constantly attentive. Yeah. And then we have the Animal Guides Tarot. Every time I can't read this one intuitively because I look at it and I'm so distracted by the colorful borders and the art style. It's just not really my style. But every time, it works. It's a good reader. And when I look at the guidebook, I'm like, oh, that totally makes sense. I actually got, I just think that totally makes sense. So we've got the Page of Earth, which they're, using in place of Pentacles. We've got cheerful, reliable, intelligent, mischievous. Mischievous isn't something I super associate with the Page of Pentacles. So, and this one also mentions an opportunity related to work or education is coming your way. So, I guess it's different from the Ace of Pentacles in that it's not, money necessarily coming your way, like not an inheritance. Something related to the effort that you've put in seems to be, what they're promising as a gift from this card. Yeah. So let's go ahead and look at the guide for this one. I've got a tabby cat as the animal. Yeah. So how are we gonna tie the tabby canvas? Okay. I mean, it's a cat. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. All right. The M. Yeah, I guess they do have a kind of a little M marking on their foreheads. Several wonderful legends about how the M got there, including one about Mother Mary having placed it there. The tabby cat is about messages, happy messages about career, school, and dreams coming true. M means a magical message is headed your way. Oh, so our page is about messages. Why did I think nights were about that? I thought nights were about messages. Maybe it's just about the speed of whatever's happening. No clue. See, this is a learning opportunity because I guarantee you I don't know everything. Okay, so let's get to this next section. We'll do these. These are just ones where the imagery is, it's a bit different. And we've got a couple to go through these. Okay, so here we have the Chicoli Tarot. This one we've got a tree coming up, got a feathery tutu, a dancer. Just got some butterflies that honestly make me think of watermelons. Okay, and there's no obvious pentacle in this imagery though. Let's see. No, that's the wrong one. Here it is. Okay, so we've got knaves in this one. One who is grounded in the teachings of nature, possesses an understanding of the natural world. So really what this card is focusing on is the grounded element. You might be learning something or learning how to move, but that movement even is very grounded in nature. So it's an interesting card and very beautiful. Okay. Here we have the Pathfinder. I wanted to include this one. It's the Cosmovisions Oracle, which, I mean, it's a tarot. So the system is a little bit different than regular tarot. They use, instead of court cards, oh, it's kind of shimmery. Instead of using the regular court cards, they have archetypes, which I think is really cool. And the one that corresponds with what I think the Page of Pentacles would be the Pathfinder. So I just kind of wanted to see what I just have the like the pocket version, so I just have this fold out here, and then Ace. Yeah, here's the trees section, and then the Pathfinder is ambition, diligence, and achiever. So that seems related to what the Page of Pentacles usually is. It looks like it's a person, like the position that they're in looks like a starting line, and that's kind of what other guidebooks have been saying too about the Page of Pentacles, that it's a beginning. So I think that's very fitting, and it's someone who's grounded and looking for the path as it goes along. Okay. This is from the Tarot of Haunted House, and let's see, that's kind of interesting because I think we actually have a tabby here, like we had in the Animal Guides Tarot. We've also got some owls, which I'm not going to look it up, but I think it's usually intuition or wisdom, something like that, right? So maybe while you're working on yourself in this meditative state, when you're practicing the basics and the foundations, I think this is interesting too, because it seems like meditation or mental states are kind of the basics of witchcraft. It seems like a lot of the guides I've seen recommend focusing on meditation first. So, that I think that's really fitting for someone taking the first steps, right, into witchcraft. But we've got, you know, the owls are coming towards her. They haven't landed yet. Maybe that's a promise of future wisdom and cunning and intuition for the future. And then the pentacle is this little, looks like a seed, a flower growing out of a pentacle. Actually, that looks like a flat. Yeah, that's a pentacle there. So that's cool. Okay, and this last one I've got here, for this group at least, there's more, don't worry. This one is the Hush Tarot. You have the Page of Pentacles again, and interesting imagery. I think it's like mountain goats, maybe? Is that what those are? And we've got a mask with feathers up here. I'll need the guidebook for this one to get a little bit more guidance. Okay, so we've got the Hush Tarot. There's cool imagery all the way through this book. Let's see. Wands, Pentacles. Okay. Manifestation, confidence. The goats, okay, so it was goats, a symbol of sure-footedness and stability. With their heads together, they share a common vision. The headdress has many faces, each facing a different direction. All of them have been witness to the ups and downs of your journey. The flock and blooms are alive with activity and excitement for the adventure that comes next. Ooh, that's really cool. And then reversal, it has getting tangled in the details. You may be missing the underlying meaning of your current journey. So, you know, that fits really well with other reversal definitions that we've seen. It means you need to refocus on your goal. Okay. Got a couple more where the imagery is, you know, it's just very different from the, well, we'll do these next. From the Rider-Waite, so it just requires a little bit more. So now we have the Page of Pentacles from the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot. Ooh, spooky. So here we've actually got someone, we've got a fern inside, so I'm guessing it's warm and comfortable and sunny indoors, but outside it's snowy, it looks cold, and we've got someone looking in. It almost looks like a fae type creature. Each one of the cards in this deck is a creature from like folklore or myth. So let me pull out that guidebook. Okay. Oh, Jack Frost. Okay, I thought that was a lady. All right, well, whatever. He's secure in his masculinity. Okay. Can transform bleak gray landscapes into sparkling crystal-covered scenery. He leaves his trademark on windows, etching his intricate designs in the glass. Okay, the uniqueness of snowflakes, symbolizing that there's no limit to one's creativity. The greenhouse plant represents potential for growth on the horizon. If you take the time to look closely, you'll see things with more clarity and insight. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I do like the imagery. Who knows? I'll leave that to you guys. This is the Da Vinci Tarot. So again, another one of those court cards where it's just a person, so I struggle, but let's pull out the guidebook. Page of Earth. Page of Earth. Okay. Oh, lie. This person absolutely looks like he's asking, how is this useful? This person showed up to a meeting and he thinks it could be an email. Like 1,000%. And the standard, use the standard meanings for this one. It would just have to be one that I have to memorize. I mean, the way it's phrased, I really like. It's just the image I would have difficulty remembering which one it was if I wasn't working with the deck super often. Okay, this one we have the Tarot of Vampires. Is this not Kristen Stewart? Like, am I crazy? But this was made way before Twilight, so I think, right? Why do I think this was made in the 2000s when it's probably like a recent deck? When was this made? Okay, 2010. Was that before Twilight or after Twilight? I don't know. That's Kristen Stewart, right? Am I crazy? Anyways, this is why I had such a hard time remembering that this was the Page of Pentacles, because I was just like, oh, it's Kristen Stewart. Anyways, all right, let's go to the meaning. This uses blue or purple, maybe. I don't know, it looks blue to me in person. And then we've got, they use skulls for pentacles. And again, it's a person. So I have trouble remembering. Daughter of Skulls. Okay. Yeah. Potential birth. So this is talking about beginnings again, opportunities, and steady and secure. What are some of the symbols in here? Yep. Okay, so she's in front of an altar. Power is drawn from the candle. Okay, so a candle is usually the Ace of Wands, but it's transformed into the color of the skull suit, which is purple. I read in another one that is because it's connected to winter. Really deep one. I have to read it more than just a go over whenever I'm using that deck. Goodbye, Kristen. All right, let's look at these three. These are other ones that are a bit different. This one's actually pretty similar in that it is, a person or a robot holding the pentacle in the same stance. This we just have the building behind, which I did read in the book that this are images from an asylum, I believe, or like an old factory. And so it's definitely a different background than a flowery field with mountains and trees there. And looks like we've got some pieces missing here. We'll have to pull up the guidebook, but I wonder if it's similar to the Murder of Crows, where it's indicating that this person has picked up the most useful of the tools available. So let me grab that. Page of Pentacles. Okay, yeah, so it is very similar to the Murder of Crows one, where he's built himself with spare parts and recognized the value of that piece. Okay, this is an interesting one. Uh, Beginning to flesh out the features of his evolving character, which also relates to youth and kind of figuring out who you are and changing as you go on. Trying on different personalities, knowing that he will eventually find the right one to suit his needs. This might be unrelated, but it reminds me of when I was a kid, I moved around a lot because one of my parents was in the military. And one of the things that I noticed was other kids were always very afraid and unable to change how they presented themselves. So if they were like quiet and shy, they usually had trouble learning to speak up. And or maybe if they uh, dressed kind of drab and plainly, they had a hard time switching to being more preppy or the like. And it's not because they didn't want to, but because other people seem to value consistency more than authenticity, if that makes sense. Like people would rather you just be the same day to day than improve yourself or be more true to yourself. That's just something that this made me think of for sure, that people shouldn't be afraid to try on different personalities. I guess that's only one way to say it. If you want to be, perky and bright, even though you've been kind of an Eeyore for most of your life, just do it. There's no, or if you want to switch from being preppy to being a goth, like who cares? You're just gonna have to put up with like a week of people going, oh, this is strange and different. Like it is what it is, right? Yeah. Yeah, this one is very good. Got a wrench symbolizing growing skills, constructing your own destiny. Yeah, okay, the mismatched shoes indicating still trying to decide on which direction to travel in life. So it's such a huge book. There are the mismatched shoes there. I'll remember that because I feel like that shows up in some other tarot cards as well. And then we've got the standard meeting, a curious student who is eager to learn, putting his studies to practical use. Okay. Now we have the Adventure Tarot. I just love the art style on this one. It's very cute. We've got the Page of Pentacles. For this, we have two people in it, actually. And it looks like they are, I don't know, let's get the guidebook. Looks like they're actually doing a tarot reading, which is cute. They've got images of the deck's cards in there. Maybe some herb bundles and an incense stick, some crystals. Maybe they're practicing tarot reading or practicing their skills. Okay. A bit of a different intention or a different interpretation. So if you're describing a person, it could be someone who needs to ask themselves, does this give me energy or does it drain me? Take an inventory of how you're spending your time, money, and energy. Maybe someone who, because they're still younger, could stand to develop some boundaries, although the picture, I think, itself doesn't necessarily evoke that personally, but it would be, of course, the reversed. Okay. So for this one, we have the Knave of Pentacles, and this is from the Door Tarot, or the Tarot of Doors. We've got another fancy boy, He's dressed up. He's got like a tri knot. I don't know what that's called. He's knocking on this door here. Let's get the guidebook for that. Okay, it's Tarot of the 78 Doors. Sorry, I was Pentacles. Able and thoughtful person, a scholar, or an expert in communication. Okay, so this one is, I guess this would, if you're knocking at the door, represents a beginning and looking to go in, assuming the library is on the other side or something like that. What is this try knot? I can't find what the knot is. I tried looking it up. It's not in my the book of symbols that I got this time. Well, let me know if you know. Oops, hitting the light here. Okay, so these are decks. Again, I just haven't really worked with because they're not actually Rider-Waite-Smith. I just kind of wanted to include them for you guys because I do have them. This is I think it's the Page of Pentacles equivalent for the Osho Zen Tarot, and it is quite similar. I mean, it's set in nature, and it's a person kind of taking their first steps. Youthful energy is represented here again. So, it does have a lot of the same concepts, although Osho Zen Tarot kind of follows its own system rather than the standard. Okay, so this one I think is a Thoth-based tarot. It's the Urban Tarot. Yeah. And for the Princess of Discs, we've got the kindergarten teacher. Yeah, that's interesting. We've got the youthful energy from the kids and a person who is around kids all the time, kind of staying youthful in their thought process and maybe their outlook on life. Someone who values new beginnings and nurturing it in others as well. So I think that's a really cool image. Like the classroom pet. Did you guys have classroom pets too? I did a couple times, and they were always very popular. This one is from the New Chapter Tarot, and also Thoth-based, I believe. So we've got Princess of Discs again, and these look kind of like these oak oak leaves. I'm actually really not even sure about the imagery here. If he's holding like a giant disc or giant pentacle, then it's fairly similar imagery. But let me grab that guidebook. Can't be anything wrong with that. Princess of Discs. Yep. Okay, the ability to manifest your dreams in the material sphere. The start of a fruitful journey. The first efforts you put into manifesting your goal. Resources are available for you to use. The way is laid out, and you are being encouraged to proceed. So, I think that's actually fairly similar to the usual interpretation. And then this last one is the Tarot of the Spirit. And I believe this is the equivalent to the Page of Pentacles. So very different. We've got a couple symbols here. I guess I should look them up. Actually, let's go straight to the absolutely ginormous book you can get to go along with this. I wanted to pick it up for studying power, for a study thing later on maybe. Let's see. Where are the pentacles? Earth sister. So the symbols on here are Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. I've got a bit of a meditation there. This is a cool guidebook. She has developed herself systematically through the most intense course of study, and her success is due to her wise assimilation, integration, and application of sound ideas. She is an innovator, but understands its limits. Very cool. Card symbology. There we go. Let's talk about the symbols. So it's green and represents the peak of the mountain. Oh, I do see that now that I read that. It does look like a mountain. Okay, cool. And she is pregnant here, giving birth to light. Okay, all right. Transfiguration. Her power to create comes from the fact that she is earth, the limitless substance from which all things are made. Like that. All right. So now that we've diverged pretty far from our original iconography or imagery, I think we'll go ahead and end it there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this study. If you had me muted or sped up, I fully don't blame you. And I'll go ahead and include a picture of the thumbnail now. So if you want to pause on that and just look at them all together, feel free. And thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye.